Aloha! This is Alan Murabayashi speaking to you from Honolulu, Hawaii, where I'm visiting my parents. I didn't bring my co-host, Sarah Jacobs, because she's still in New York. Hey, Sarah.
Hey, how you doing, Alan?
I'm doing okay. We just had a great webinar with Robert Seal talking about 11 business tips that he
Yeah,
used to kind of turbocharge his business.
yeah, 11 tips for freelancers.
So I guess we'll put that on the blog maybe early next week or something in case people miss that.
Yep.
But that was good. It was good information. Well, it's only 11:30 a.m. here, which is weird because it's the end of the day there in New York.
Yeah, you've had a very long day.
I've had a long day. That's how time zones work, apparently.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling good. I'm ready to talk some photography. So let's get into it.
All right.
With number one, turns out as you pointed out, today is the 70th anniversary of the largest Allied invasion in history, aka D-Day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the 70th anniversary of D-Day. And photographer David Burnett, he goes out to Normandy every 10 years since the 70s, and he goes to the beaches and he photographs veterans out there. And he just comes back with these incredible shots.
Now, we should point out, number one, that even though David Burnett is a veteran of the industry, he was not actually at Normandy. That
Oh,
would
no.
make him very old.
No,
But
no.
he has gone out and taken these photos. And the one thing that I love about the guy is that he drags the film camera, the 4x5, almost everywhere he goes. He's going to the Olympics with this thing. He shoots assignments for National Geographic and different magazines with the 4x5. It just gives it a different look.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And of course, being a great photographer doesn't hurt at all either. But you were saying this is on the Contact Press Images site that's powered by PhotoShelter.
Yep, powered by PhotoShelter. That's right.
Always good to see some great images on a PhotoShelter site, and this is a little customization site that they did to match the rest of their site. So check that out at contact@photoshelter.com. Speaking of kind of throwbacks there, 1 year ago, 28 Chicago Sun-Times photojournalists were laid off in an instant. And the Poynter Institute in Florida did a little retrospective on where are they now. Where are they now?
Where are they now? Well, yeah, they pointed out that 4 of them were actually rehired by the Sun-Times just this March under the title of multimedia journalists, which I can only assume would be for video for
Now
them.
remember, they were laid off in the first place because the Sun-Times said we're moving in the direction of more multimedia and video.
Hmm.
So I don't know how good I feel about the fact that everybody got laid off so that they could rehire 4 of them. Seems
Right,
like a
like
little
9
bit
months later. Yeah.
it seems a little messing with the books a little bit, but happy that they're gainfully employed.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I know. See, whereas 4 others were effectively forced into early retirement, which is too bad.
Yeah.
And then another 4 of them were hired by Yahoo under search editor, which I'm not really sure what that means.
A search editor.
What would search
So
editor be for Yahoo?
so
Um,
they're photographers who are hired as search editors. I can only think that it's maybe they're improving the quality of image search results. I have a hard time believing that they were qualified to talk about text search results. But I guess the other part of it is who uses Bing anyway?
Ooh,
Oh, did I just say that on a live broadcast?
you might have.
I might have just said that.
Yep. Others have found other full-time photo jobs at universities and colleges nearby. And then there's Rob Hart, the guy who started the Tumblr, laid off from the Sun-Times, who has actually gotten a lot of freelance work just by publicizing the fact that he was laid off and what that's done to his family life and personal life and his photography. So good for Rob.
He kind of almost immediately understood the power of social media and jumped on that train and got work
Yeah,
out of it.
exactly, exactly.
Since we came off of this Robert Seal webinar and he was talking about his transition from a staff position at the Sporting News, going freelance after that, he was very methodical in how he went about that. He accumulated clients over time, doing freelance work while he was still at the Sporting News, and then one day he flipped the switch, but he had a portfolio of business that he already had. For these guys, they were literally pulled into a room and said, sorry, you're out of work. So there must have been a lot of stress in that situation. But on the other hand, everybody sort of landed on their feet a year later. I mean, granted, a few people were forced into early retirement, but I'm not that surprised given the resilience of the human nature that these people figured out what to do pretty quickly and how to do it very quickly.
Yeah, yeah, good for all of them.
There's good information out there on how to run your photo business and trade organizations to help you, and it's all good stuff. So congratulations to those guys 1 year later. And actually, the guy who wrote the article for Pointer was a Sun-Times employee. He was one of the guys that got laid off.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, I dig that. I dig that. So 2 days ago, little announcement on one of our favorite apps. Instagram went from version 5.0.13 or whatever it was
Whatever.
to version 6.0. And 6.0 was where they integrated a lot of cool editing tools like brightness and contrast. Because, Sarah, what we were doing before is we would take the image and we'd throw it into Snapseed or iPhoto or VSCO,
yeah,
aka VSCO.
VSCO.
And now all of that stuff is in the app.
Yeah. Yeah, they just made it a more robust editing tool, which is awesome. They've added brightness, contrast, color temperature, everything you can imagine. And you can also now adjust the filters, which is really great. So you apply a filter and then you apply the strength of the filter.
Really?
Yeah, it's just to make every photo that comes through Instagram maybe a little bit more it's just more customizable, and you can really make it fit your aesthetic, which is cool.
See, I'm a hashtag no filter kind of guy, so I didn't even realize that modifying those filters were part of the dealio.
Yeah.
But I am liking the controls on the new Instagram. They're very easy to use compared to the not so easy to use Snapseed controls, in my opinion.
What are the Snapseed ones like?
Well, you have to. It's weird, you press a button to affect stuff, but then you have to like scroll vertically to change the tool from brightness to saturation, and then you slide left and right to increase the intensity. Whereas with Instagram, it just says, okay, press the button for brightness and then go left and right for brightness. It's just more intuitive to me. I feel like Nick Software was being a little too cute when they came out with Snapseed.
Got it.
On the other hand, Snapseed is what got them purchased by by Google for, I'm sure, some absurd amount of money. But that's irrelevant to Instagram because Instagram was already purchased
by Facebook. Right.
Another Instagram piece of news this week was that Pamela Chen, formerly an editor at National Geographic, is now the editor at Instagram.
Wow. That's a great snag, Instagram.
Yeah, because they, they do a bunch of curation and they have the blog that showcases photography. So they've been getting serious about taking people from the industry. And Facebook, of course, a few months ago hired Teru Koiyama, who was a very well-regarded photojournalist, to be kind of the community photo liaison for Facebook. So really exciting to see people from the industry getting jobs at these .coms representing the industry in a lot of ways. So good on them. Here's this website. I found it on social media. It's not something, I got to be honest, it's not a site that I had seen before. It's called dorkly.com.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that you've that's not on your, bookmark homepage.
But this was running through my Facebook, I guess because I'm friends with some dorks.
Uh,
So that
guess
showed up
so.
in my newsfeed. But it's a photographer named Vesa Lehtimaki. Sounds Finnish, maybe? I don't know. And this article says, known in many corners of the internet as Avanaut. So Visa has a little internet handle. And on Dorkly, this photographer took two of the dorkiest things in the world, Lego and Star Wars, and combined them to make reenactments with baking soda to simulate snow. Now, what I didn't mention to you, Sarah, is that I'm in Hawaii because my grandma is turning 99 years old in 2 days, so we're having a little party.
Nice.
And it was my grandma who, in 1977, took me and my cousin Irene to go see the original Star Wars at the Cinerama Theater on South King Street in Honolulu.
Oh wow! So you have fond Star Wars memories.
Fond. I lost my mind when I saw that. Imagine being 5 and seeing like what was kind of like the seminal science fiction movie that brought special effects at that level. I went crazy. I went absolutely crazy. Well, these stills, if you will, are actually from The Empire Strikes Back, where they had a lot of stuff on a snowy planet, and they're pretty darn good. Got the macro lens, got the backlight of the baking powder to look like snow.
Yeah, they're actually pretty beautiful with the baking. The baking powder looks really pretty.
I know,
and
then
snow.
Some filter going on there with some vignetting and nice contrast, and I might be encouraged to put one of these on my wall, maybe even. Is that possible?
Wow.
No, I don't want to do that. That's
okay,
a little.
No, forget it.
That's a little too dorky. Okay, forget that. Speaking of Instagram, Justin Timberlake, Mr. Justin Timberlake,
I know
crowdsourced. You know that guy?
Yeah, I know that guy.
He crowdsourced using hashtag Not a Bad Thing for his song called Not a Bad Thing. So you could send in your, well, not send in, you could just hashtag your photo, and then he had his team going through some of these photos. Oh, let's turn this. So he made a video out of these user-generated photos, and it's kind of a fun little video talking about everyone's little love stories.
Yeah, it's adorable. It's a little bit of a tearjerker.
He's not the first musician.
Possibly.
Did you take a tissue a little bit of that?
I might have. Yeah, I might have.
It's not the first video that's crowdsourced Instagram photos. But come on, this is great stuff.
Yeah, it's cutesy for sure. Yeah.
So the question then, because we talk about copyright and we talk about fair and fair use and compensation for photographers, my question to you is, assuming that these people weren't compensated, which I'm 99.9% sure that they weren't, what is your feeling about these Instagram photos being appropriated for use in the video?
I mean, if you're gonna hashtag it with the hashtag that Justin Timberlake
I feel like they did it
called out,
of their own accord.
Yeah, they were in agreement by using the hashtag. Yeah.
So, major rock star says send in your photos, and he puts it in the video. Yeah, a lot of the frustration that I think professional photographers have had in the past with user-generated content is that a company will say, everybody submit your Super Bowl commercial ideas, and then we'll pick one to be in the Super Bowl. So they essentially get like 1,000 people or 10,000 people working on these ideas, and then they get to cherry pick the best one without compensating or with minimal compensation. But in this case, they use lots of photos. It wasn't the intent to try to crowdsource to get down to one photo that was representative of Not a Bad Thing. It was, let's put as many of these photos in as possible that we can fit in there. So there's, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred photos that they put in here. I like it. That's just me. Are you a Justin Timberlake fan?
I mean, not 100%, no.
Okay, all right, but you might have shed a tear a little bit.
Yeah, it was, yeah, definitely like cutesy, yeah.
You know, Sarah, I told you that I don't frequent Dorkly? Was it Dorkly?
Yeah, totally.
Dorkly.com.
Yeah.
I don't frequent Dorkly.com, but one site that I check out at least twice a day
Twice a day.
is HelloGiggles.com. No, I totally just made that.
Zoe Deschanel's blog, Hello Giggles.
Is this what it is, Hello Giggles?
Yeah, it's run by Zoe Deschanel and
Oh, I see these little
two other ladies. Yes,
cute. That looks like Zoe Deschanel with her eyes.
with their little bangs. I know. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, that makes a lot more sense then. So, Hello Giggles. See, I guess we are just not in the know, or I'm not in the know about pop culture. But I found this again in my Facebook feed because I guess my friends visit HelloGiggles.com. And there's a Kickstarter project called Danube Revisited, the Inga Morath Truck Project. Inga Morath was a female photojournalist who was part of Magnum in the early 50s. And there is a grant or some sort of annual award. And they got 9 of the former recipients, female photojournalists, together for this Kickstarter, including our friend Amy Vitale.
Yeah, Amy.
And other photographers like Jessica Dimmick. And they're going in this truck along the Danube, showing Inga Morath's work and then taking their own work, and they're going to put together an exhibition.
Yeah, and they're going to be doing projections as well, yeah, through the exhibition. It sounds like an amazing trip. I wish I could be there to see parts of it.
I mean, you get to ride in that truck?
Well, I don't know who's going to be in the truck.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not driving the truck themselves.
No. Well, maybe. I don't know. They could be.
You might need a special type of license to drive that type of truck. You would in the U.S. The average person can't drive a big truck like that.
Right. For those listening in on the podcast, the gallery will be inside of the truck. So they actually have to drive this truck around, aka the gallery. It looks like an incredible project. I mean, all these women are just incredibly talented and have amazing work. So
the Kickstarter project is fully funded, but there's still 2 days left to add even more to the Kickstarter project.
So if you want a prize, then go ahead to the Kickstarter.
Yeah, and look for Danube Revisited, or go to HelloGiggles.com.
Or Hello Giggles.
Or go to our blog, blog.photoshelter.com. Or you could tweet us at I Love Photo, and maybe we'll give you all of that information anyway.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to contact us.
A lot of ways to support, yeah.
Last month, we started a new thingamabob. And that thingamabob was to look at the coolest photo gear from the previous month. In a thingamabob we called the 5 coolest pieces of photo gear from that month. Sarah, it was so successful. It was kind of a viral sensation.
Off the charts.
Off the charts, so much so that I totally made that up. There was almost no buzz about it.
But we need to be clear that these are not the best pieces of gear, right,
No.
Alan? This is just what we think are awesome.
It's just the coolest.
The coolest,
pieces of
yeah.
gear.
Exactly.
And what's cool to me isn't cool to you.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well,
but take us into the 5.
Let's go into the 5, starting with, and I always have to look at it because there's so many little letters and stuff in this thing. So Sigma, the 50mm f1.4 DG HSM. Sigma started this whole new line of lenses called the Art series. And, back when I was a kid, and I've said this before, I think multiple times on multiple podcasts, Sigma didn't have a good reputation as a lens manufacturer when I was a kid. It was like Sigma and Tamron were what you got when you couldn't afford Nikon, Olympus, or Canon. It was kind of like the poor man's version. Optics were meh.
Yeah, Sigma was my first lens.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
But they've got their act together in the past couple years, and they came out with this art line. The first lens was a 35 millimeter 1.4, which I'm testing out right now through the graciousness of Sigma. But this 50 millimeter lens has been testing off the charts, and the quality of this lens apparently is only second to the Zeiss Otis lens, which costs like $3,500. So for $950, you can get this Sigma lens, which outperforms the Canon counterpart and the Nikon counterpart. The only thing is that it's a big honking piece of glass and plastic.
Now, when they talk about the art series, like the Sigma art series for these lenses, are they trying to market it to fine art photographers? Do you know why it's that?
No, I don't think it's. I think they're just saying like these are artfully designed.
Okay, all right.
Lenses. Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know. I made that up. I will ask them about that so you can.
You need to clarify that. Okay.
But I will say, you know, having been testing out the 35 millimeter, that guy is sharp and it's fast and it's fun, and I would actually consider purchasing that lens because it's cheaper than the Nikon version.
The 35 or the 50?
The 35.
The 35.
50 for me is a little too. It's not wide enough for my brain, but 35 is great.
Nice.
And 1.4. Come on, 1.4.
And is the 35 less clunky than the 50?
They're big lenses.
Okay.
They're big lenses. You know, what can you do? 1.4. The second coolest piece of gear is the Sony CyberShot digital camera RX100 Mark III. Let me tell you something about Sony. I kind of have a little crush on Sony because they've been doing good work.
Yeah.
And you've heard me talk about my RX1.
Yep. You wrote a great review on that.
Yeah, I might talk about it every single podcast.
Maybe so.
JBA, who works at our office, he's one of the co-founders of PhotoShelter. He and I went to Tokyo 2 years ago, and he took the Mark I version of this camera. It's tiny. It's a great pocketable camera. So now they're up to Mark III. The thing has a pop-up electronic viewfinder, so you don't have to just look at the back of the camera. It still has a pop-up flash. It's still tiny. It's got an even better sensor than before. It's totally usable up to 1600. Then, like any compact camera, it starts to break apart a little bit. But 1600, you're good unless you're like in candlelight. And then, of course, you have the flash. This is a great little camera. I mean, $800 is not cheap for a point-and-shoot camera, but Sarah, you might want to add this to the arsenal instead of just the iPhone.
I know. I only do point-and-shoot with my iPhone. It's true. And my 4S. It's not even a 5.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I know. Yeah, no, this looks amazing. And I mean, Zeiss. Great name. Great quality. So
they designed the lens. They do not manufacture the lenses for Sony, but they design the lenses for Sony.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So it's almost as good as having a Zeiss lens. But hey, you know what? I'm so happy to see Sony has had a couple rough decades, and I'm so happy to see Sony kind of kick butt in photography and really challenge the incumbents of Nikon and Canon. I think it's just good for photography and good for photographers. There you go. Here is number 3 on the list. It's the Mitakon 50mm f/0.95 Speedmaster. Okay.
0.95. Wow.
What lens do you have for your 50mm? Do you have a 50mm?
No.
Okay. Well, I have a 50mm and it's an f1.8.
Okay.
F1.8. I don't know. I think it cost me like $250 or $300. I don't know. And then I have a macro one that I got used at Adorama for like $200, which is like an f2 because it's a macro lens. Well, this is a f/0.95. I think it's like a stop or 2/3 of a stop faster than an f1.4. It's a fast lens. So when we talk about cool, well, it's not getting the best reviews optically because, I don't know, I think it's like $500 or $600. It's not an expensive lens, but it gets a lot of light. I'm sure at f0.95 your depth of field is, half an inch, depending on how close your subject is. It's not going to be easy to focus,
No.
but
Yeah, you don't want to have that all the way open.
if you're taking a portrait of someone and you really want to isolate them against the background, this is a little cool tool to have in your arsenal, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's not on your cool list, is what you're saying?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, Stanley Kubrick did use an f0.95 lens for filming some of his cameras, and that guy was cool.
That guy was very cool. That's true.
Cool. He was also a little weird. Okay, well, this number 4 is definitely going to blow you away as being super cool. Adidas will soon print your Instagram photos onto your sneakers.
Oh man, I need to rethink my Instagram game.
Rethink your definition of cool too. So let me explain to you. If you're listening on the iTunes podcast, let me explain to you what we're looking at right here. It is a large photo of a hamburger with the content spilling out of it. That's the background of the image here. And then in the foreground, it's a dude carrying Adidas shoes with that same image printed on the shoe.
I'm still confused why they chose such an ugly photo to promote this with.
People love burgers.
They do. That's true.
Apparently, there's an app coming out for this, the PhotoPrint app for the ZX Flux shoe. Hold on, there's another one here. Maybe these are a little more your style.
The cherry
These
blossoms.
are cherry blossoms.
I'm into this. That's nice.
Sarah, what would you put on your Adidas ZX Flux Instagram shoe?
Let's see. Okay, I recently shot on Instax the entire PhotoShelter staff, and then Todd took a digital picture of all the Instax piled up, and then I put that on Instagram. So this is getting kind of meta, but then I would put that on a shoe. That would look pretty rad.
And then would you Instagram the shoe again?
Absolutely, 100%. I'd Instagram the shoe. It would just be a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, you could keep making shoes out of the Instagram of shoes.
Exactly.
Endless mirror. What did you use all those Instax photos for?
So we just relaunched PhotoShelter.com, and it looks incredibly beautiful, and we have a great new About page that tells you all about the people who work here and our teams. It's really awesome. Check it out, PhotoShelter.com/about, to find out all about us and stalk us all.
I actually knew that because I'm the co-founder of PhotoShelter. That's what we refer to that as a softball in the biz.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you just knocked it out of the park.
Oh, good. Thanks.
The last of the coolest gear for May is this little guy. It's the Lomo'Instant camera. You were just talking about the Fuji Instax camera. This is the Lomo version of it. Lomography is like a real company with real stores and real products. And they decided it's time for us to make our version of the Fuji Instax called the Lomo'Instant. So they have a Kickstarter project. Look at this. The goal was $100,000. And with still 20 days to go, they've raised $763,501 for this thing.
That's brilliant.
That's pretty amazing. People love Lomo.
They
and
do.
Here's the thing, too, because it's a real company, they've actually already designed the cameras. They've designed the cameras, they've designed these add-on lenses, they've designed these add-on filters. And I think they're using the proceeds to just build all the dies and the machine cutting things. And there are all these different colors.
Yeah, you can get the camera, you can customize the camera, which is really cute.
That's totally cool. And look, $35 gets you the camera.
Good price. Good price point.
Because how much is the Instax? It can't be cheaper than $35.
The film? Oh,
yeah,
the camera.
No, the actual Instax camera. I don't think it's cheaper than $35.
No, yeah, I don't think so.
What I do know is the film is not cheap, that instant film.
Yeah, it's not super cheap. No. But you got to be careful about what you're shooting with it, you know? You got to be You got to be making a lot of decisions. Not like with Instagram, where you can just
You
snap
know,
everything and then put it on a shoe. So,
we talked about that Fuji Instax remote printer, the SP1, a couple weeks ago. And I had a brief conversation with Chris O'Young from our office, who also shoots a lot of concert photography stuff and is a big fan of Instax. He actually wired up one of our Instax cameras with a hot shoe with the help of Mark Yoon, who's one of our lead programmers and also an electrical engineering major. And I said to Chris, I was like, doesn't this, as much as I love it, it seems like a little bit of a gimmick, because we've had instant cameras for years and years and years. And he goes, yeah, that's true, but the only thing is, like, with the cost of the film, the problem with the instant camera is you don't get to pick what you want to print. It's like you take the photo, you look at it, it might be crappy, etc. But he said with the iPhone, you can take a bunch of photos and then decide that this is the one you want to print, and then give it to the artist or give it to the person, have them sign it, take an Instagram of it, have the meta thing continue.
that's a very good point. I had a wedding photographer this week ask me which one should I get. Should I get the printer or the camera? And I actually suggested the camera because I had to let you print out one of my images, and I didn't think it looked that good.
Didn't look that good.
It didn't look that great. And I told him that. I said, you know, I've tried both. I prefer the actual camera. I think you should go with the camera and not the printer. But Chris makes a great point where you can edit down and print out what you want with the printer. So
yeah, I just think that the image quality wasn't that great. It seemed a little bit too undersaturated.
it
Or
was.
maybe
It was
just
pale.
it was pale, right?
Undersaturated and pale. Yeah, the colors did not come through.
And especially when you compare it to what you see on your phone, which of course is like this brilliant, bright screen with Retina display and.
Right, being illuminated at you. Yeah.
So that's our coolest gear for May. You thought maybe one of them. You liked Lomo.
Yeah, I like
The
the
Lomo
Lomo.
Instant.
Yeah, I might donate to that Kickstarter.
It's $35. You got 20 days to think about it.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, you know, we have another week where I will still be in Hawaii, where we get to do this again, because this weekend is my grandma's 99th birthday. Next weekend is my high school reunion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm sticking around the islands a little bit, so you'll get to see me broadcast from my bedroom.
Great. We'll tell your grandma happy birthday.
I will. So for Sarah Jacobs, this is Alan Murabayashi. Thanks for joining us once again for another I Love Photography Live. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.